Let's talk about something right now. Some friendly fire in the sports media community right now. Well, we got Sam Ponder and her support for fairness in women's sports being called plain old bigotry. All right, get the story out there. So we know who Sam Ponder is, and she came under fire as her support for keeping women's sports fair and equal was the subject of an opinion column from USA Today's Nancy Armour. Ooh, I've read a lot of her articles. This is going to be interesting. Ponder and fellow ESPN colleagues say still, we know where we're going. If they bring Sage into it, you know you about to get the red pill, as they say in the Matrix, have voiced their support for Wiley, who has taken the reins to lead the cause for transgender athletes to participate in sports against the gender they were born as instead of the gender they identify as. Y'all caught that? The way you were born is how you participate, not the way you identify. Well, I'm born and raised, and I'm born and raised, and I'm born and raised in Compton, right? So let's take that same mindset, that same tone. Born and raised, born and played. I was born a man, I played against men, all right? So I understand where she's coming from with this one. All right. Gaines has been at the forefront since she tied with Leah Thomas in the NCAA championship in 2022. You guys know that story. So Ponder spoke about the issue again after Gaines tweeted the messages she received about transgender high school runners participating in the girls division in California. Quote, I barely said anything publicly about this issue, and I've had so many people message me, stop me in the street to say thank you, plus tell me stories about girls who are afraid to speak up for fear of lost employment, being called hateful. It is not hateful to demand fairness in sports for girls. That's what Ponder tweeted. However, Armour called Ponder's words plain old bigotry in her column. Quote, don't be fooled by the people who screech about fairness to cloak their bigotry toward transgender girls and women. The transgender girls and women who have the audacity to want to play sports in particular. This is and always was about hate, fear, and ignorance. All right. I disagree with that right now. I think even those hyperbolic terms right there are ignorant, but we'll discuss that right now. Armour particularly took issue with Ponder choosing to speak out about this issue rather than talk about how girls and women's sports don't have equitable funding with boys and men. Y'all see what she's doing right now? She's saying, why are you talking about this issue right here, talking about fairness and equality? We have another fairness and equality issue over here you're not talking about. Well, maybe Sam is not talking about that because they are not apples to apples. They're apples to oranges. Both fruit, but different. So here's the quote. Did Ponder use her platform to express outrage at any of this? She's over there talking about the equitable funding with boys and men. Urged her nearly 500,000 followers on Twitter to write or call their representatives and ask that women be given the funding and opportunities they rightfully deserve. Did she publicly participate in any of the many excellent documentaries, videos, and commentary ESPN did to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Title IX last year, or even tweet about them? Oh, no, she did not. Her public concern about fairness for female athletes starts and stops with the minuscule number of transgender women who are participating in sports. Wow, she went there. Now you can tell she's a journalist. Hey, look, when somebody's right, somebody's right, somebody's wrong, somebody's wrong. I think she's wrong, but damn it, she knows how to write. Did y'all catch that? Okay, so Armour accused Ponder of putting transgender people in further danger with her tweets by further amplifying the boogeyman that cisgender women's participation in sports is being threatened by transgender girls and young women. Armour concluded that Ponder's opinions have nothing to do with fairness. All right, so Sam Ponder hasn't defended herself yet, but I'll take the duty for her right now. Unfair to come at Sam Ponder when she's coming at the whole situation and trying to find a fair and equitable response. Let's remind everyone what my stance is on this issue. The way you were born is the way that you're going to participate. Socially, you are able to identify any way you want to. It is your right, and it is a human rights conversation to talk about transgender socially. But when we start talking about participation in sports, it's not based on that. You got to know that it's going to be based off the birth. And it has to be based off your cisgender status. Natural men participate against natural men for one reason. There's a different physical ceiling for men and women that has been biologically proven. So when is this going to be a fair and balanced discussion, not poisoned with fear factor? Because anytime you speak sensibly about this or respectfully about this, but you oppose what others think, they throw that fear factor at you to silence you, to scare you, and all those fear tactics. So that's not fair. And you know what's interesting about this conversation? Why don't we have a balanced and fair discussion? Why aren't we having this conversation about transgender men competing against men? Because they're not taking advantage of men. A transgender man is now being looked at as that's not your advantage, because you're going against men with a higher physical ceiling, right? So let's just remove the fear tactics, the name calling, and just have a real sensible discussion on this. If you don't want to create another category, like men have a category, women have a category, Special Olympians have a category, transgenders have a category, then we're going to have to make sure that we're being sensible and logical in this conversation. I just know, being a man, my physical ceiling is just too high. And frankly, my physical floor is still too high to compete against naturally born women. If that is hatred, and if that is ignorance, then I'm ignorant, and I know I'm not.